Hi, Gene Monterastelli here, the editor of TappingQA.com. The video that you are about to watch is a conversation that was a part of this year's 24 Hours of Tapping. The 24 Hours of Tapping is a fundraiser for the amazing work that is done by the Peaceful Heart Network. The Peaceful Heart Network has brought tapping to migrants, refugees, prisoners, and the underprivileged in over 30 countries all over the world. As you watch this video, if you learned something, if you were touched by it, if you were inspired by it, the easiest way to say thank you is to support the work of the Peaceful Heart Network. To do that, all you need to do is go to 24hoursoftapping.com/support. And as you look in the description and the first comment down below, you will see a direct link to that. I hope you enjoy this conversation. What you are about to see is a conversation filmed inside of a jail by a number of women who are doing what they can to recover from addiction. And I asked the ladies about what they've learned about themselves. I want you to pay particular attention to those answers. When we're done, we're going to share some tapping scripts with you. When we do the tapping in the middle of this tap along, Sean, could you do me a favor? Just play the conversation with Kerri Rhodes and the women as part of the HARP program. Well, Kerri, as always, it is super, super great that you're getting a chance to spend some time with us. It's also just really, really awesome that you're inside of a facility that's given us a chance to just hang out with you all and engage in this particular way. What has been just your personal experience working inside of that particular facility with that particular community as you've been trying to solve problems and serve the community?
Well, I mean, I never saw myself in working in corrections or with addiction, and certainly didn't plan to spend the last 3 years in a jail of all places. Yeah. So, you know, I think for me, the whole thing has been unexpected. And if you would have told me that tapping or havening or any of these other kind of tools that we use on a daily basis would be the basis for healing in here and using it the way we use it, which not only therapeutically do we use it, but they use it peer to peer. And, you know, you guys are going to meet some of my experts today, because that's one of the things I really love about this tool is that not only can I use it for my own self-regulation or for, you know, I use it therapeutically, but they use it when I'm nowhere near the facility, you know, and it's a tool they will walk out of here with that they can use with their children, their spouses, and themselves. And so, you know, for me, that, you know, I think that's one of the things I'm the proudest of. And, you know, the Peaceful Heart Network has been a big part of why we have that in here. I mean, Ulf and Gunilla freely gave their time a couple of years ago and have partnered with us, you know, ever since. And, you know, it's been a really amazing journey. I mean, you know, when I asked, you know, can you help me train my men and women in our program? I mean, they were, you know, they couldn't say yes fast enough. And,
right.
And today we have over 250 of our participants in HARP certified as trauma tappers. And we also have about 250 staff that work for the Sheriff's Department and Chesterfield County. I just finished doing like 85 counselors in a neighboring county that were very interested in using this in schools. You know, I implemented it in schools. So, you know, it's something you can do it. And I recently just did a training in a senior living facility that's here in our county. So, you know, it's a tool that I don't care if you're 2 or you're 82, you know, you can use it.
And so going into all of these different places, because lots of folks who are listening along with us are in a circumstance where they're trying to share this tool with the people in their lives because they see it so powerful. What is the level of resistance, types of resistance? How do you help to overcome that resistance when you're sharing it in this variety of settings, you know, or just to start inside the facility there with the inmates, with the staff? Like, what does that look like as far as openness, and how does that happen?
Well, I think initially I think they were like, what is happening? And who is this lady? You know, and she's a little off kilter. I mean, you know, they did.
I want you to know that as you said that, the number of knowing looks that just happened over your shoulder when you said she's off kilter, there is a choir who is affirming that particular statement behind you right now.
Yeah. So, and some of them will talk about some of that because, you know, there are a couple of them here who kind of were in here when we first started this. And so from where we started, I mean, obviously people, when you start talking about tapping on energy points or, you know, and there being healing that happens when we pair two signals or we watch people regulate, you know, they thought it was insane. But the great thing is we have a sheriff here, Sheriff Carl Leonard, who, you know, he's an out of the box kind of person. And he asked me one question when I said, hey, can I bring something called tapping into the jail? And he said, does it work? And I said, yes, sir, it does. And, you know, it was largely responsible for my own healing. And so, you know, as he asked that, you know, but to allow that to happen, you know, and really he was kind of like, good luck, like, let's see how this works. And the truth is that what happened was people started to find relief. They started to feel safe in their bodies. I mean, a lot of the beautiful people behind me today have been in survival for a very long time. And I was no different than them. I mean, you know, I live in a world where I was in survival too. And it was so normal. I didn't know any different until my whole life fell apart. And, you know, but tapping gives you a way to have some control and an off switch. So I think they thought it was insane. But I think the proof is in the pudding. And, you know, they had nothing to lose. And my thing was, hey, let's try it. If it doesn't work, you know, like, okay, we haven't lost anything but about 20 minutes of your time. But, you know, as you can see, I think, you know, we do it all the time. We have a TikTok. It's called Tapping Tuesdays. You know, we've had some pretty incredible things happen as a result of that. We've had, you know, obviously we had Jelly Roll come into the jail and he saw us on our Tapping Tuesdays. We've had kindergarten teachers write us. We've had people who said, hey, I got one more day of recovery because of you guys and the things you share. And the thing that people might not know is when we share our tapping videos on TikTok and on our social media, I mean, they're the ones that write all of them, not me. You know, they write them, they create them. And so they're personal to them.
And so, like, I can remember when I lived in Baltimore for about 2.5 years, I taught anger management in the county jail, taught the guys tapping. And I can remember at the beginning of each class, we did it for a month, you know, folks had to share their experience or had to share what they were trying to do. And one of the guys had been in class before, comes to him and he just goes, Mr. Gene's about to tell you a lot of crazy. You need to listen to Mr. Gene. And it was like the perfect testimonial, but it was a circumstance where the guys I was lucky enough to work with, many of them were in the room because of the other folks that they were in the facility with. How much do you see that inside of the community once you got over the threshold of a couple of folks saying yes and giving it a try, where the, for lack of a better word, evangelization was happening from the community and not top down?
Yeah. So yeah, they're a great testament to that. I mean, they, you know, they're two that we'll probably do a little bit of talking today with. So when you're in jail, and I didn't know this about the jail, but jail is a place where you wait for court and sentencing. And then a lot of them have to go to the Department of Corrections. And so two of my females behind me, when they went to the Department of Corrections, had learned to tap. And, you know, then they, you know, like, and one we're talking to on the phone at a call and she's like, yeah, I'm, you know, been doing tapping groups in the jail where I am. So, you know, we do see them use it. We see them take it wherever they go. You know, and, you know, I mean, and I say people who come in, if you're a day oneer and you see what we do on a daily basis, they use it every day and in their morning meetings. You know, I mean, I'm sure if you're somebody it's your first day in HARP, you're looking at this like these people are insane, you know, but we just say it's weird and it works.
That works. I like that.
Yeah, it's weird and it works.
So just before we started the conversation, you were sharing a little bit about some of the creative stuff that you all have been doing over the course of the last couple of weeks. I'd love to hear about what you've been doing in group settings and kind of working in that particular way.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things we have a mental health division in our jail, and I think we're the only jail or prison probably in the country that does, where our sheriff has prioritized the mental health of our inmates, but we don't have enough staff. There's 4 of us, and I have 4 mental health staff for the entire jail. And what happened is that, you know, we just can't do it all. So we did a little. We found out that our females were not benefiting from programming the same way our males was. We take a lot of data, And so we thought, what can we do? And we put together a trauma intensive. I brought in 2 clinicians, trauma clinicians from the outside, and we did some psychodrama and parts work. We did a sound bath. I think we're probably one of the only jails where we're doing, like, we did some sound frequency healing. We did some trauma informed yoga. We did therapeutic writing, art, a lot of play, things that are, ways to integrate that trauma and ways to really, calm and soothe the nervous system. So we did that last week. This week they're still recovering. I mean, there's a lot of heavy lifting. I mean, trauma work is not for the weak. Kleenex is our sponsor in here. If they watch this, I need them to send us boxes. It's not pretty. It's snot and tears and ugly and, bearing compassionate witness to things that are pretty brutal. And so, it's hard work, and they're brave people and here to do that work. Corrections is a hard place to do that work because you need safety. But you'll hear them talk about, they've created a community that's just beautiful. They love each other. We love them. They love us. The fact that it's in a jail is just, I don't know. It's just one of the more bizarre facts about all this.
And so as you're doing that really, really heavy lifting, how do you make sure you're able to do that piece after the fact? Because there is the release, and sometimes, I've worked with clients where we've done a session and they've slept for 16 hours afterwards, just because so much is moving and so much is going on. I have a feeling, that you are getting the opportunity to unlock and work with really complex trauma, which is hard work to do, like you're saying. So how do you all think about after you're doing that work to make sure that folks are cared for and safe?
So I think one thing that, one thing that gave us a lot of comfort in that is that many of them are trauma tapping certified. So they all have the tools peer to peer when I'm not here to help each other. And they do. Gotcha. We also, did some containment activities where we're really trying to make sure, like, we're buttoning that stuff back up. And then, because there's reprocessing the trauma, and then there's integrating the trauma, and so and then there's relaxing the nervous system. And so they all have those tools. So in here, we don't just go unpack people's boxes. We make sure they have a foundation for safety. So, they learn about havening, meditation, vagus nerve exercises, tapping. We give them tools in their toolbox to regulate and to feel safe. And we want them to use that muscle, and they do. They lead it themselves on the pod every single day. So that's the key, I think. Like, it's one thing to, but you gotta be able to regulate yourself, because, everybody, they're going to all leave here, and life's going to show up, and it's going to be hard. And they're going to have a different way to cope with what's happening, or, big emotions, or feeling dysregulated. And awareness is key. Most of them are in their bodies for the first time in a very long time. And, someone will tell you they hate it. They're like, this sucks. Right, Jen?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's hard.
And the thing that I love what you're saying there is, oftentimes when we think of sharing a tool like tapping, is this is tapping, this is how it works, this is what we can use it for. What you're talking about here is, how do we think about transformation? How do we think about doing transformation in a safe way? What does a process look like where I'm not just cutting right to the heart of the matter and clearing the heart of the matter, but making sure I'm doing this in a safe and gentle way so the healing has fertile ground to go to? And I think that just for all of us who are out in the world sharing tool set, like that's such an important thing for us to be hearing, because you're doing is you're talking in terms of the safety and well-being of the folks you're working with. The biggest difference between me as a practitioner today and a decade ago was the rate that I do the work and the container I do that work within. It is slower. It is safer. Like, I'm okay if this stretches out over time versus us doing it really, really quickly, because it's not just about the transformation. It's about the human that's in the middle of all of that. And it is like, it's heartwarming and it's beautiful to hear that dispositionally, that's the place that you're starting from. You're not teaching them how to tap. You're teaching them how to understand and respond to trauma. And tapping just happens to be one of the tools that do that. And that's just awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Awesome. I would love to hear from some of the folks that you have been working with, some of the ladies in the room. See what's going on.
So this is Jennifer.
Hi.
So
Hi, Jennifer.
Jennifer is one of our mentors in the program. So we have leaders in the program, and Jennifer has been in HARP how long?
Forever.
She's not going to be in HARP longer. She's 19 days in wake up.
Yeah.
And we're not counting 19 days in wake up.
Not that we're counting.
Not that we're counting.
That's awesome.
So Jen has been in for a long time and can talk a little bit about, she went to Department of Corrections, actually came back to us and wanted to come back, which is odd in and of itself. Most people don't want to come back to jail.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about that?
What about wanting to come back?
Yeah. And just, kind of like how what we do looks in here. I mean, you might have some thoughts on the first time you saw tapping.
Oh yeah. Tapping. So
let's start there. Yeah, Jennifer, let's start there. Like, when this was first presented to you, what was that like?
When Miss Kerri first came in, and she gave us this whole presentation. The only thing that was stuck out to me was the colorful pages of your thing. It's pretty.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, oh, this is pretty. And it was colorful. And then she started doing this tapping thing, and none of us were really open-minded to that at first because it was new. It was different. We were used to grouping every day, talking about our feelings and stuff like that. So it was just completely different. And, it just took a while to actually understand that it does work if you give it a chance. And me, I'm like a 10. I'm a 10. And we tap and I'm like, I'm still a 10. I just didn't, but what it was is that I just needed to do it longer. Yeah. So me, I was not being open-minded. I'm like, this isn't working 3 rounds in. And if you're a 10, you have to do it longer than that. But and
it's a process.
It definitely is. But when I went to Department of Corrections, I didn't know anybody else knew about tapping. Mm-hmm. So when I got to Department of Corrections, I was taking this class. I think it was an anger management class, and we had this book. Well, under what was it, each chapter, it was a tapping session. And I was like, oh, I know this. And the facilitator didn't know what tapping was. So I'm like, oh, so you don't know, but I know. So that's when I was like, oh, well, I know how to do this. And so that's when I started leading the tapping sessions for the anger management class. So I felt like I was doing something. I'm like, all right, side of the hand, let's go. And everybody's like, what? So it was funny how that even happened. And all the girls, they're girls in prison, they're working, they're just doing a lot of time. They're like, what is this? I'm like, I'm telling you, you just have to work at it. You have to be open-minded. But coming back here, I wanted to come back here. What I realized when I got to Department of Corrections is that I had changed. I didn't fit in with that crowd anymore. And that was different because I usually always fit in with that crowd. And me and my friend Jade, we both got sent together. And I remember walking in the bathroom and girls were doing all this stuff that we didn't do anymore. So we're holding on for dear, we need to get out of this bathroom.
It's gonna go bad.
This is getting ready to go bad. But I had changed. We had changed. And it was because of here. It was because of not just the techniques, the tools that we've gained, but just the connection, that having people that, want to see you get better and want to see you win and that love you, and I think that was a really big deal for me and for Jade, is that we knew that people cared about us. And that's a big part of my recovery is connection, is I know that somebody cares about me. I'm worth loving. And, I have and I'm proud of the team that I'm a part of. I'm proud of my community, the girls that are in here. There's a whole bunch of them back there. You see them?
There they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful, you know.
And so what you've done is you shared like what it's like recognizing how people are responding differently to you. You said you've changed.
When Jen came in, she was a tough girl. Like she was like badass. Like I'm gonna kick your. Yeah, she's still tough. She tries to be still tough. Right, but like that's what she needed. But that's the armor that she needed to survive her life until she didn't. And and so like, for me, I'm so proud of watching her be brave enough to like take that armor off. And and I told her I don't want her to be in a world where she has to put that survival back on. I know if she does, if she ends up there, she'll know how to do it. But she'll also recognize how heavy it is, and she'll know how to lay it back down. And but she's got one of the most beautiful hearts, and they all do. But you got to be brave enough to do that. And she'll say jokingly, "I hate being soft."
That's because I cry or like get teared up where I used to didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Miss Kerri, this is sad, or I'm gonna cry, and I'm just used to that. You're right. Like it has the armor, I have to protect myself, and I didn't know how to take it off.
Yeah.
And it's been hard to do that.
Yeah. And through that hard transformation, what is the favorite part of yourself that you have discovered in this process? Like something you didn't know was there or has been cultivated through this process? Like what is something as you look at yourself today versus before all of this happened where you go, oh my gosh, it's awesome I am that, or it's amazing I've grown into that, or I've uncovered this thing?
So two things. First, my heart.
Yeah.
My heart. My cup runneth over with compassion. Like I love the girls so much. And but not just that. I love people. Like, I don't know. I feel like I connect. I feel people's pain. I want to let them know that. I fuss all the time, like I'm everybody's mother. But it makes me feel good. I don't know. Does it make y'all feel good when I fuss?
Yeah.
It's just a thing, but also too is my personality. There was a time where I laughed because, to keep from crying. And now I just laugh because I want to laugh. And I am a jokester, and I don't know. I like that people accept me for who I am. That's a big deal for me because I have it's that, not trusting people, feeling misunderstood. But I've grown into my true self, I think.
Yeah. And that's what we talk about in here, like recovery for us, it has nothing to do with addiction. It has nothing to do with the substance. And HARP, everybody in HARP has a substance use disorder, and without it, they wouldn't be here. But like for Jen, like I said, it's recovery is recovering your real self, your best self. And so, I get to, walk beside them while they do that. And then they walk beside each other. And, that's the deal. It's just, not trying to fix somebody, but rooting them on and giving them the tools to do that work themselves. And, super proud of Jen and the person, like I've watched her kind of unearth in the time that she's been here. And I think addiction, grabs some of the people with the biggest hearts, like big feelers. Behind me, there are a lot of big feelers, and I think when you experience the world in intense ways, that means the good is intense, but you feel the bad. And that's what I think Jen's like starting to realize, like, I'm a big feeler, and I, she has to she feels other people's emotions. Like we were at a school and she was talking, we were doing a presentation, and this little boy came and told us his story, and he was a high school kid, and he started to cry, and she started to cry. And, the Jen that walked in this program day one would not have. And she's like, oh my God, I hate this. I'm crying. I can't stop crying. And she couldn't stop thinking about him, but I think that's what makes her beautiful. And so.
Well, we weren't supposed to touch the kids either.
Well,
I made a beeline straight past Miss Kerri and was like, come here. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just got to hug him.
I know.
Then we walked out and I'm like, I don't know how I can't do this. She's like, I feel it every time. I'm like, yeah.
I know, I do this every day. Yeah, you can do it. But I think like that's the thing, like watching like somebody, like they all have such beautiful hearts, and like watching them walk back to themselves, like recovering themselves, because we're all recovering from something, right?
Yeah. So
whoever you are.
Yeah. So Jen, what have you learned from one of the ladies behind you?
Oh, there's so many things I've learned from all the ladies behind me.
So just pick one. I would just love to hear what you're learning from the community and as you're doing that.
Where's Sierra? So Sierra Cook is who taught me how to be a friend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was there for me through so many like really a lot of hard times. Like when my boyfriend got killed, I was here. I haven't gone home yet, and she was the one that laid on the floor with me and didn't know what to say, but she was just there. And like the first person that I was ever their friend to. And I think it's a big deal because for me, it was always, I had to be in a relationship with somebody to feel validated. And I really didn't know how to be a friend. I didn't know how to be one or accept one. And she became the person that accepted me no matter what. I could tell her anything. She didn't judge me. And she was there for me, like, even if she didn't know what to say, And so that was a big thing, is because it's important to me that people know that I do know how to be a good friend, and that I have their best interests at heart, and like I'm there no matter what. But I don't think that if she would have came into my life, I might not have, been open-minded to it, because in that moment I was.
You've been in survival so long that just having somebody like you because was a new concept.
Yeah. So, but I've learned many lessons from people in this program. She's just the first, that was the first lesson, was
That's awesome.
How to be a friend.
That's awesome. Jennifer, thank you very much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Awesome. Kerri, is there someone else you want me to talk to before we do some tapping?
Yeah, come on, Ash, and then I'm going to bring Cameron in to do the tapping with us.
Awesome.
So this is Ashley.
Hello.
Hi, Ashley.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Come on.
So what was your first experience with this wacky tapping thing and that wacky Kerri lady?
So I used to work for this company called Imagine the Freedom, and a lot of them come from the HARP program. So it was a guy that was in there, and then Miss Kerri taught him about tapping. And I was interested in watching him do it. I was like, I can't wait to meet this lady so she can teach me how to do it too. But he did a group tapping with us there. And then when I got here, that's when we all got certified. And I just seen how it was helping us. And we did a lot of one-on-ones, Miss Kerri and I seen how it made me feel like I felt relieved. I don't know, like it was so much going on inside of me. And once I tapped, it kind of like was taking layers and layers away.
Yeah. And I think with Ashley, it was like some big events that like were kind of at the core of the struggle. And so to be able to go into that event together and have her already have the tool, and be able to go into that, and just kind of turn down the emotion on things. And, and like she talked about, like leaving layers behind, and then, and they're always disbelieving. Like when we do it, they're always like, this is crazy.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Yeah.
I didn't think it was, and it really did. And then for me to learn, and then to be able to help someone else that was struggling, or just to calm someone down when their anxiety was super high, I've seen that it was effective. So
Ashley would leave our sessions and go onto the pod and find people, and then just start doing it. And that's a great thing about tapping, is that there's no expertise. Like you can't mess it up.
Right.
Like you just do it. If people need help, you just do it. And and they do it peer to peer. And Ashley was one of the folks, like she went to the Department of Corrections and we couldn't hold her. And we actually just got her back. Hasn't
been almost a month.
Yeah, a month. But when she came back, she goes, I've been tapping with people over there all the time. And it's that ripple effect of, they're taking it out with them and then using it and sharing it with people. And that's the cool part of this. But it cracked me up because I would do things with her, and then she would use a lot of the same techniques, and she'd go on the pod and she'd be like, oh, I tried this and I did this, and I'm like, all right.
And doing it for them also was helping me more too. Like
Yeah.
I was getting a better understanding of it. And when I went to prison, I went to Fluvanna Correctional Facility for Women, which is it's like I would call it a mental health hospital, a big mental health hospital, because
Right.
people had like a lot of problems. A lot of people were still
Yeah.
dealing with substance abuse there, and they didn't know how to deal with it. And the clinicians there, they were no help either. So I was glad that I
throw some people under the bus while we're on it.
They didn't. I'm serious, but even the counselors wanted to understand like what tapping was, so I would do it with them. And I got my PRS here, so they would call me out, and like I would be able to go help other people that were like struggling and need someone to talk to. And then I would just start off our talking with us like having or like a small tapping, and they allowed me to tap on them because they didn't really couldn't keep up. But
yeah, and Ashley just mentioned something. I think that's another cool part of the HARP program is that we bring in and do several times a year. We certify them as peer recovery specialists. And so, Ashley, Jennifer, they've undergone that certification. And so, we really need peers in the community and in recovery spaces, based on what we're facing. And so, like arming them with these skills so that they can come back in and be part of healing and helping people is, and then I think the tapping just, it kind of like they have these tools and they're extra equipped. Like if she's like teaching counselors in the Department of Corrections,
So in this process, Ashley, what is something that you have learned about yourself that you really like about yourself?
There's so much. I just love how my my inner personality, like who I really am inside. Like for so long, I tried to be like this tough girl or try to do everything to fit in with the world. And now I can just be myself and people are accepting me the way that I am. So I love that I can be myself. I don't have to put on a front for anybody anymore.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So is there someone else you want me to talk to, Kerri? Do we want to do some tapping? What's the best way for us to do it?
I have no idea what they're gonna tap on. I just like said, hey, somebody write something. So here's one of my talented women, and Cameron.
So we have two.
Okay, they have two. Come up here. They have two.
We got lots of time. We got lots of time. So whatever they want to do, we want to do it.
We can do one now, maybe one at the end. I don't know what you want to do.
That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So Cameron.
Hi.
This is
Hi,
Cameron.
Hello.
And so Cameron, she's also one of our mentors, and I would say, Cameron was one of those folks that like Cameron's always thinking, like Cameron's always like she's gonna outthink you. She's one of the smartest people. She like always is thinking. And so like the task I give her all the time is I want you to feel more than you're thinking. Let's stop all this thinking, right? And so she is like a beautiful writer. When she gets her thoughts out of the way and she just writes from her heart. But did you guys write these together?
I wrote this one, and then the whole pod wrote the other one.
Ooh, so Cameron wrote one, and I'll let her talk about it. And then apparently they group wrote the second one. So that would be we'll just let the group do that one.
So Cameron, when you're going to write something like this, what's that process look like for you? Are you starting with an issue? You starting with a feeling? Is there a phrase that's already kicking around in your head? What's your creative process look like when you're coming up with this?
Well, I think so for today, it was really what I think about the ones that I've done with other people that have come in, through our program, and what I do with a lot of the girls, what I do with myself, and things that I struggle with, things that I think are really relevant. And I just kind of go from there. I really try not to think too much because
you're talking to an overthinker right now. The struggle is real. I know what it's like always to be thinking.
And if I give myself too much time, then it's a big disaster, and I definitely think too much. So I tend to do a little bit better. As much as it sounds like a procrastinator's excuse, the less time I give myself, the less I tend to think, and it just comes out a little bit more organically.
Awesomeness. Great. So if you'd like to do some tapping, let's do some tapping.
Okay. One thing we didn't just do, should we do where they repeat or where I just go?
Why don't we do where they repeat?
Okay.
Let's do it. So,
let's
because
do
like
it.
we'll because
Yeah,
when you go through
because
this,
everybody watching along is going to tap with us, so I'm going to repeat as well. So just lead us along.
They'll repeat.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Okay.
they'll repeat it. Like so, whatever you say a stanza, they'll repeat. So like, my body feels so tired. My body feels so tired.
Okay. They'll repeat the eyebrow, right? Or like the
They'll
side of
repeat
hand.
that. They'll repeat all of it.
All of it. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Even though I don't feel motivated,
Even though I don't
feel motivated,
I choose to start this day with optimism.
I choose to start this day with optimism.
Even though I feel my body dragging,
Even though I feel my body dragging,
I will put one foot in front of the other.
I will put one foot in front of the other.
Even though I feel discouraged,
Even though I feel discouraged,
I choose to start this day with hope.
I choose to start this day with hope.
Eyebrow. My body feels so tired.
My body feels so tired.
Side of eye. My mind feels so foggy.
My mind feels so foggy.
Under eye. Everything takes so much effort.
Everything takes so much effort.
Under nose. It's hard to get out of my bed.
It's hard to get out of my bed.
Under mouth. The day is so overwhelming.
The day is so overwhelming.
Collarbone. So many tasks before me.
So many tasks before me.
It's so hard to get things done.
It's so hard to get things done.
I feel stuck and uninspired.
I feel stuck and uninspired.
Side of eye. My thoughts are negative and gray.
My thoughts are negative and gray.
Under eye. I'm trying to find a purpose.
I'm trying to find a purpose.
Under nose. Something to get me going.
Something to get me going.
But my mind goes round in circles.
But my mind goes round in circles.
It's so hard to find a focus.
It's so hard to find a focus.
Top of head. I cannot find direction.
I cannot find direction.
Eyebrow. I can find my body's center.
I can find my body's center.
Side of eye. A place of vitality and strength.
A place of vitality and strength.
Under eye. I can clear the clutter from my mind.
I can clear the clutter from my mind.
Under
Nose. Yeah.
Making me sharp and focused for the day.
Making me sharp and focused for the day.
A day full of possibilities.
A day full of possibilities.
With great energy moving me forward.
With great energy moving me forward.
I can do anything I put my mind to.
I can do anything I put my mind to.
Eyebrow. Creativity lives inside me.
Creativity lives inside me.
Side of eye. Waiting to be unleashed.
Waiting to be unleashed.
Under eye. Positive thinking is a part of me.
Positive thinking is a part of me.
Under nose. Giving me purpose and peace.
Giving me purpose and peace.
Under mouth. My mind is calm and centered.
My mind is calm and centered.
I choose to start this day with optimism.
I choose to start this day with optimism.
Hopeful, encouraged, and focused.
Hopeful, encouraged, and focused.
Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Okay.
Oh,
That's awesome.
I needed that. I like when y'all lead better than me.
Yeah, I totally forgot a point.
That's okay.
It's
That's
all good.
That's the cool thing. Like, who cares,
Yeah.
right? That's a
That's
great.
right. That's the beautiful thing about the tapping is it's flexible in that way, and we're perfect like that. So as you have used this tool,
Mhm.
what's the thing that you have learned about yourself that surprised you?
I've learned a lot about myself. I have learned that I can be patient. I have learned that I can calm my racing thoughts. I have learned that, wow, I've learned a lot. I've learned that to be open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen so many beautiful things with this. It has helped me with nightmares in the middle of the night. It's helped me when I've had a fever with COVID. I've seen it help females who come in who are really anxious, because when you come in, it's really overwhelming, and people, like Miss Kerri said, are in survival. And when they come in, they're just going. And then they see in the morning, we do these meditations, but sometimes it takes going with someone one-on-one, and then to really just, give it a go with someone privately. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I slept for the first time in I can't remember how long. And then once they have that experience, then they really are like, wow, this really works. Yeah. So, and it really is a beautiful thing, and it does work. And anytime emotions are contagious too. So when we're in groups and people get really upset because of someone else's, pain, or, just that also works really well too.
Yeah, it gives you a little insulation if your nervous system. I feel like if your nervous system is relaxed, things don't stick in that same way.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're creating safety. And so, you've already paired the signal. So, I feel like it gives them a tool to not have like secondary trauma from other people's.
It definitely helps with that.
Yeah. And we take them down to intake too. Sometimes if we have someone that's, really dysregulated or really having a hard time, and I mean, they don't know it's from Adam, sometimes, but if we can get them to do, tapping, havening, any of the tools that we use up here, and the fact that we have like peers, because there's one thing like me, I'm some lady that nobody knows, but like another person who with lived experience, who's been where they've been, it's just, I don't know. It's like, we're this dynamic duo. We go down and sometimes we'll have deputies with us too. And so you have like law enforcement, mental health, and you have peers, and, it's, I don't know, it's like this amazing thing that happens, and, all about using, a tool that, I mean, by any standards, people would look at from the outside and say, that's insane.
Yeah.
So, just having somebody like Cameron, and Cameron does a lot of heavy lifting on the pod and leads a lot of these things. And so I'm super grateful that, I have them that prioritize it in their own healing.
One time I was in Bible study, and a lady that was in there with us, she had just found out earlier that day, she's not in the pod anymore, but that her husband had cancer. And she had told me earlier, but no one else had known, and she didn't really want to speak of it. And she just burst into tears, and there were only 4 of us, and she was relatively new. So I just took her hand, and while the other people were speaking, and just tapped on her fingers, and it calmed her down really, really quickly. And she said to me later, she's like, I always kind of thought it was a little bit silly. She goes, but it actually works. Thank you so much. And there's been lots of little moments like that in our unit. I can't even count how many, but yeah, it is really good.
So in your healing journey and all of this, what's the thing that surprised you the most about your own experience, about what you've learned, about what you've become? What's the thing that's super unexpected?
Super unexpected. That I'm okay with not knowing.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like that?
I do like that.
Awesome. I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm okay with not knowing. And I really don't know. Like, well, the more I find out I know, the more like I know I don't know. And I'm really not sure what the future, holds for me, but I know that I'm going to be okay. And that's enough,
That's awesome.
Right. And I'm in the healthiest place, mentally and emotionally than I have been, I think, for probably my whole adulthood. And that's, I thought I had some recovery, behind me when I got to HARP, because I had already been incarcerated for 1.5 years. And then I came here and I realized I was very mistaken.
Well,
so,
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, people don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. And we call them blind spots for a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. So you have another tapping script that you guys have worked on that we could tap through?
All right. So this is one you guys wrote. Everybody wrote?
Yeah. I'll do it.
Oh, who wants to lead this one? Ash? You're right here in front of me. This is it right here. What's the name of it? What'd you guys call it?
Finding peace with the past. We did it off of what we did last week in our trauma thing. So we got connected again with our wounded child.
Okay.
And we did our calm thing with our nurturing child. So
with our good enough nurturer?
Good enough nurturer.
Okay.
And then, some of our observing self in there.
Yeah. So one of the models we used in our parts work last week, just for folks who are watching, is we use the triangle of like the wounded child and then the good enough nurturer, because the wounded child just needs that good enough nurturer, and we utilize the observing self in terms of how we do that. Use that it's called finding peace with the past. But I love that they all wrote it together. So that's awesome. All right.
Awesome. We're following you.
Okay.
Side of hand. Even though I'm carrying all this pain from the past.
Even though I'm carrying all this pain from the past.
I'm still deserving of love.
I'm still deserving of love.
Even though I felt unseen in my childhood.
Even though I felt unseen in my childhood.
I feel seen now.
I feel seen now.
Eyebrow. Even though I'm still carrying this pain from the past.
Even though I'm still carrying this pain from the past.
Side of eye. I love myself today.
I love myself today.
Under eye. I've carried all these parts for so long.
I've carried all these parts for so long.
Under nose. I will allow myself to move forward and let go.
I will allow myself to move forward and let go.
Chin. Even though I felt so fearful of everything.
Even though I felt so fearful of everything.
Collarbone. Today I am protected.
Today I am protected. You do
underarm. I felt overlooked by the world.
I felt overlooked by the world.
Top of head. Today I am seen and accepted.
Today I am seen and accepted.
Eyebrow. I felt all alone in the past.
I felt all alone in the past.
Side of eye. Today I have support in my community.
Today I have support in my community.
Under eye. I walked around feeling unwanted.
I walked around feeling unwanted.
Under nose. Today I feel so much love in every aspect of my life.
Today I feel so much love in every aspect of my life.
Chin. I felt abandoned as a child.
I felt abandoned as a child.
Collarbone. Now I feel a part of.
Now I feel a part of.
Underarm. I felt so inadequate.
I felt so inadequate.
Top of head. Today I am perfectly imperfect.
Today I'm perfectly imperfect.
And I matter to someone.
And I matter to someone.
Eyebrow. I felt so isolated.
I felt so isolated.
Side of eye. Today I have found connection.
Today I have found connection.
Under eye. I felt so lost.
I felt so lost.
Under nose. Today I am found.
Today I am found.
Chin. I felt unbearably broken.
I felt unbearably broken.
Collarbone. Now I feel whole.
Now I feel whole.
Underarm. My wounded child felt weak.
My wounded child felt weak.
Top of head. But my observing self is strong.
But my observing self is strong.
Eyebrow. My life was so chaotic.
My life was so chaotic.
Side of eye. Today I found my calm.
Today I found my calm.
Under eye. I was so anxious.
I was so anxious.
Under nose. Now I'm courageous.
Now I'm courageous.
Chin. I felt so ashamed of who I was.
I felt so ashamed of who I was.
Collarbone. Today I am confident.
Today I am confident.
Underarm. I have found comfort and peace.
I have found comfort and peace.
Top of head. I felt so violated by the people I trusted.
I felt so violated by the people I trusted.
Eyebrow. Today I am cherished.
Today I am cherished.
Side eye. I felt so timid and insecure.
I felt so timid and insecure.
Under eye. Now I am strong and resilient.
Now I am strong and resilient.
Under nose. Today I let go of things that no longer serve me.
Today I let go of things that no longer serve me.
Chin. I love and nourish myself.
I love and nourish myself.
Collarbone. My absorbing self is beautiful.
My observing self is beautiful,
Courageous and whole.
courageous and whole.
Underarm. Today I allow myself to be vulnerable.
Today I allow myself to be vulnerable.
Top of head. I am no longer afraid.
I am no longer afraid.
Eyebrow. I won't always have the right answers
I will always have the right answers
or make the right decisions.
or make the right decisions.
Side of eye. But I know it's okay to take chances today.
But I know it's okay to take chances today.
Under nose. I am safe and secure.
I am safe and secure.
Chin. I feel whole.
I feel whole.
Ladies, take a deep breath. Release with a sound.
I love
Thank you for the
that.
Isn't that great?
That was so beautiful, guys.
Good job,
I
y'all.
love that.
That was awesome.
They are awesome. I mean, they're just the most creative, beautiful people. So yeah, I'm glad you guys get to see a little bit of that. Why are y'all leaving me up here by myself?
Okay.
They're pretty amazing. But I love that.
That made me feel good.
It made me feel good too. I needed that today. Yeah.
And the thing that is so beautiful about that is that it is clearly lived experience that's coming from the place of the heart. And so I run a website that's called Tapping Q&A, and the most common question I get is, what are the tapping phrases for insert issue? And what you're demonstrating here is it's just speaking your truth and speaking with what you're struggling with and speaking what you're aspiring to. And that just is beautiful and pure. And that's all we need to be doing when we're doing this.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just words, it was your heart. And so thank you very much for sharing your heart with us as we're tapping in that particular way. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I love that you guys all wrote it. Like I can hear parts of all of you in there. Yeah. I like when you guys do things like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was really too busy to direct. I like to try to direct traffic a lot of times because that's who I am.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time. And so they were like, what do you want us to do? I'm like, I don't know. You guys figure it out. And like, just do it. You guys got it,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And it's crazy because we know that about you. So we were like, we're going to just do this right here. She'll probably have something else there, but at least we'll have it done. And we did this together as a team, and it made us feel good. And we all got to engage. And
I had nothing.
That was good.
Like I had nothing. I had nothing today.
Well, we got your back because you always have ours.
Okay. I'll take that. I need that.
So I'm going to ask permission. Is it okay if I take that and I transcribe that and I share a written version of that with everybody who's participating with the event with us?
Yeah.
And you guys are with that? Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Awesome.
We love that.
We'll make sure everybody gets a copy of that for sure. That's super easy thing for us to share with everyone else. So awesome. Kerri, is there anything else that, like, you've already just given so much of the middle of your day with us? Is there anything else you want to share before we take our leave today?
I mean, I really can't think of anything. I mean, I think, I have a job that I get to do that I love, and I get to do it with people that, I love, they know some days I run around like a chicken with my head cut off. And I totally knew that, like if I threw it at them, they would handle it. And, this is a hard kind of week for me. I'm between my son's birthday and the anniversary of his death. For people who don't know, he died of an overdose. And so what we do in here is very personal to me.
Yep.
And, a typical therapist is I'm above you and my job is to help you. But that's just not the way it works in here. Like the way it works in here is, I help them and I get so much more from them than I could ever give them, for sure.
Okay. So what is one thing that you have learned from the ladies in that room?
that nobody rides for free, and none of us are alone.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Well, Kerri, everybody else in the room, thank you for sharing your time, for sharing your experience, for sharing your wisdom, for sharing your heart.
While you're finishing this, Gene. I might mess this up, but there
No,
they are.
that's perfect. That's awesome that we get a chance to see everybody.
HARP, beautiful women. Here they are.
Awesomeness.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesomeness. Well, Kerri, thanks once again for all your time.
You're so welcome. All right, thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
If you found this interview inspiring, I would encourage you to support the Peaceful Heart Network by going to 24hoursoftapping.com/support or clicking the link in the description. And you will see on the screen right now a playlist to all of the interviews from this year's and last year's 24 Hours of Tapping. I hope you enjoyed those as well.